Hello students, today we're going to be talking about subtracting fractions with renaming. So the first thing we're going to do when we're subtracting a fraction is we're going to find our common denominator. In this case, I already have a common denominator because 3 and 3 are alike. So since I already have my common denominator, I can see that I cannot take 1 minus 2. And so I have to borrow from the 6. And so when I go to borrow, I cross out the 6 and make that a 5. And then I have to change this 1 into something else. Now normally when we subtract, we would change this into 11. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take this whole number and I'm going to turn it into a fraction. And so to be able to do that, I'm going to add 3/3 to this because I know that 3/3 is the same as 1. And so I'm taking that 1 and bringing it over here. And so when I add 1/3 and 3/3, I end up with 4/3. And so this now becomes 4/3. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut in just a second. But what I did again is I took 1 away from the 6 and made it 5. And then I put that 1 over here in fraction form and I did 3/3. The reason I used thirds is because I already have a denominator of 3. So 1/3 plus 3/3 is 4/3. Now I can subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2. And I keep my denominator the same, which is 3. And then 5 minus 2 is 3. And then of course I would simplify if I need to. So I subtracted my numerators and the denominator stayed the same. Let's look at another example. Here I have 7 and 2/3 minus 2 and 5/6. So here I have to find a common denominator. And I'm going to make my denominator 6. So 5/6 stays the same. And now I have to do 3 times 2 to get 6. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then when I go to subtract, I can see that again, I cannot do 4 minus 5. And so I cross out the 7 and make it a 6. And then here, I'm going to add 6 over 6 to 4 over 6, which will make that 10. And the reason is because I took 1 from here, and I added it over here, and so I made it into a fraction by making it 6 over 6, because that's my denominator. Now, 10 minus 5 is 5, 6 stays the same, and 6 minus 2 is 4. And that does not need to be simplified, so I'm going to circle it. Now the shortcut, instead of doing this step right here, is to just add 6 plus 4, which is 10. So add the denominator plus the numerator to get your new number. So let's look at another example. Let's say that I have 3 and 1/4 minus 1 and 3/4. When I go to subtract, I can't do 1 minus 3. And so 3 turns into 2. And now I can do my shortcut. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 minus 3 is 2 over 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. And 1 2/4 simplifies to 1 1/2. There's one more type of problem that you can do. It's if you have a whole number minus a fraction. So I can't take away 4/5 from nothing. So I borrow from the 8 and make that a 7. And now I turn this into 5/5. And the reason I change it into 5/5 is because I already have a 5 here. And so I want my denominators to be the same. I could make it 8/8 or 10/10 or any of that, but I want to make sure that these denominators stay the same. 5 minus 4 is 1. 5 stays the same. And 7 minus 6 is 1. So I get 1 1/5. Please feel free to rewatch these instructions so that you can really become comfortable with this concept. Thanks and have a great day.